Hi again, guys. Chris at 8280 Creative. Third installment of the starting a clothing company. Really doesn't have this time around doesn't have to do with starting a clothing company. More has to do with organizing the clothing company that you currently have. The reason why I'm doing this one, um, again, I hope my buddy Nate doesn't really take offense to this, but I'm using his experiences as a model to what should be done, what can be done, what should have been done. Um, Going into a clothing company and starting one up, it's there's a lot of stuff involved, as you can tell, and of course, somebody brand new doesn't know anything about the business, doesn't know anything about screen printing itself. It's really hard going into it and without bumps in the road. And I'll tell you, I still have bumps in the road, and I've been doing this for 5, 6 years now. No, about 8 years now. But let's say you have a clothing company, and you have sales here and there, but you made the mistake on purchasing, 24 of one design, or an outrageous number of one design, and now you can't unload it. You know, or let's talk about, the same thing with the website. Thing is, you constantly change and you're having an identity crisis. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to. My suggestion, and this was to my suggestion to Nate, stop what you're doing with the clothing company, right? Quote unquote, shut it down, reorganize your stuff, and then reopen. You're not going to lose followers if you have a Facebook account. You're not going to lose followers if you have a MySpace account. They're still going to be there. They know what's going on as long as you tell them. If you have current customers that just put in orders, give them their money back, or say, listen, we're restructuring. We have to redesign. I can either A, give you your money back, or B, hold on to it until the new designs come out and you can have store credit. Communication is the key with your customers to keep a clothing company alive. If a customer notices that the clothing company hasn't made updates for the past 4 months, or hasn't been on MySpace or Facebook, or emails haven't went out for, they'll lose interest for sure. Trust me, the clothing company that we sold, 5150 Clothing Company, it's nobody knows about it anymore. We were doing so much publicity. We were pushing it so hard that a lot of people knew about it. Mostly we were walking the streets, and I see my shirt on the street. It was awesome, but now it's nothing anymore. Um, and that said, it's going to be hard for them to come back. Um, but don't get discouraged if you think you need to shut it down, because the your customers will still be there. You're not going to shut down for months at a time. You're just shutting down for a couple of weeks just to make things organized. So at that time, you need to make sure that your designs are what they need to be for a print shop. Okay, that is your that's one of the key things in a clothing company, making sure that your artwork is ready for a screen shop to screen. You can incur almost $80 worth of charges if it's not ready. Okay, it's a lot of headache too, because then you're thinking, oh, they're gonna print it, I'm gonna have it next week, but then they say, listen, we got to redesign, we got to do this. Then you're like, damn it, so to avoid all that headache, make sure to look at your designs, fit them on 11 by 17-inch palette on your Illustrator. Um, Design utilizing only one color, possibly two, but stay with one color to keep the cost down. You can still do a lot of cool things with one color, because you have to understand there's so many different inks out there that shimmer. There's stuff that puffs up. There's a lot of cool colors out there that you can use combinations with different color shirts. So don't be afraid of using that one color. Now, enough apparel company, we normally only use a one color, maybe two or three colors um, on our black shirts. We use white, black. I'm sorry, white, gray, and red. And that's kind of our thing. We don't like to go with other colors. We kind of stay with that theme. But that's just how we are. If you're a, you know, like Cowboy Cartel, one of their competitors, I think, is like Cowboy, what was it? Cowboy Militia, right? And they're using like 4 or 5 different colors on a brown shirt, and that's cool. If that's what you like, and if people like it, then that's fine. But there's nothing wrong with doing one color on one color shirt. Okay, nothing wrong with it at all. So don't be scared of it. Keep your costs down. People still like the design, and it's all within the design. Now look at with a lot of detail, like this one, right? With all that detail, it having one color isn't bad. You know, it shows up really nice. It's not just a solid, one color. Now this one might be a little bit off, but we're doing like a shimmer gray with this one. That's like kind of like glittery, and it looks. We already ran a couple of these shirts already with that ink, and they look pretty cool. Even though it's one color. So definitely don't be afraid of the one color thing. Go over your designs that you currently have. If you did them in Photoshop, definitely get them over into Illustrator and convert them. Oh, one key thing when you do have it in Illustrator, and let's say you send over a PDF file of the Illustrator file to your screen printer, or you send them over the actual Illustrator file, make sure to create outlines on every single font that you have on there, because what Illustrator does is once its Illustrator files are sent over to a different computer, if that computer doesn't have the font that you currently used, then the screen printer won't be able to use the font that you originally wanted. Then you just get in a headache again of trying to find that font and sending it back and forth emails. So make sure to right click on your font, create outlines. Um, let's see what else. Oh, he had a writing team. Cowboy Cartel does a lot of the bull riding and barrel racing and stuff like that. So he had a team lined up that wore his stuff basically when they're out and about, and they're known for barrel racing or whatever. Definitely you want to put a stop to that for a minute and say, we're pulling all the teams right now. We're restructuring. The reason why you want to do that too, not only because of the design work and the shirts that are out there, but to make sure that you have a team set that's actually going to push you as hard as they can. Now, with having a limited budget, you obviously can't go and pay them for doing what they're doing, so you have to pay them in shirts, right? That's how most of us sponsor other people, is by giving them apparel. So, but you really want that person that wants to be seen and wants to grow with you to do it, and you want to be able to spend that money on that person. So um, make sure you reevaluate all the team members, and you know talk to them personally and say, listen, we're doing it this way now. We're changing things around. You need to be in so many races before you can get sponsored. Whatever. You have to come up with some sort of a plan so that you're not losing your ass and you're not just giving out free clothing and these guys aren't doing anything for you. Not to say that Cowboy Cartel, that's how it is. I'm just saying in general, because we did, when we had 5150 Clothing Company, we had a writing team out in California that was a sports bike stunting team and never really pushed us. Say they did, never pushed us. So what we did was we said, okay, well, we'll sponsor you, but we're just going to sell you wholesale or cost on every shirt, and by that way, you're able to, we can sponsor you that way. And if they're willing to, and that's great because they're making orders, but it doesn't really mean that they're pushing your line. You know what I mean? So that you got to kind of weigh the pros and cons and all that sort of things. But the more you advertise the team and the more you have events with the team showing up, then you start getting recognition from other people outside of the team to say, oh wow, this clothing company actually has a riding team or barrel racing team or whatever. What we're doing with Enough, um, we're doing something unique, I think, and I probably shouldn't be telling this, but you see this crest right here? Our whole premise is based off of a motorcycle club, um, not one in general, not one in specifically, but just the brotherhood of the the motorcycle club. So having a crest shirt like this, kind of gives everybody the same look. If a lot of the guys want to wear them and go riding, then it looks like we're sponsoring them, but in reality, they just like the shirt and they want to be a part of our whole movement. But I'm getting off topic. Anyhow, so yeah, redo your designs. Make sure they're in Illustrator. Make sure your fonts are collapsed into outlines only. Make them print ready. If you can, go out and do these sheets after you're done. Mock them up on your shirt. Make sure you like them. That sort of thing. One of the things that he ran into not too long ago was that the images or the designs that he did previous to me, giving him some advice, was that they were not to size and didn't really understand which way to go, because you have to understand, if you're designing for a large shirt like myself, the reason why I design on 11 by 17 is because I'm a big guy. I wear 2X shirts, so I design to me. And if I print this on a small or medium shirt, it's gonna be freaking huge, right? To me, I don't care because most of the guys that I ride with are big guys. So I'm, 2XL, XL, and maybe large. So large to 2XL, even 3XL is who I'm designing for. Where, for him, the cowboys and stuff, some of them are super thin, and some of, maybe the women's shirts were super big, I don't know. So he kind of had to, you know, redesign and resize everything to fit the shirt. So you obviously don't want to design for a shirt that's a medium and then put it on a 2X shirt because it's going to be a small print. So my you know my thought, my philosophy is always designed to 11 by 17 inch because it's going to fit the big shirt okay, and it's going to fit the small shirt okay. So if you really want to get into wider, like, give me 2 seconds here. Here's one of a popular shirt. Now this one, this one goes over the shirt like this, and this one is a lot wider than 11 inches, but that's because we have a special screen for this one. The screen that we have is actually 24 inches wide, which gives us some leeway on the side, and this is only running, I think, like 12 or 13 inches, I think, from end to end. Um, but in order to start doing stuff like this, you really got to get some education, get educated on screen printing process, and from there you're able to understand more how to design. He came over the other day and burned his own screens, cleaned his own screens, did the whole thing that I would normally do for a customer. He did it himself, and now he's like, okay, I definitely understand how the screen process works, and now his designs are coming out better than ever. So um, and there's other tricks to the trade that I don't think I should say because it's something that puts other clothing companies aside from each other. But experience and going online and researching and researching and researching is super important, and it helps out a lot. So um, again, don't be afraid to shut down the clothing company or shut down your shop for a minute, or for a week or two. Either you're not going to lose any followers. If anything, you're going to look better when you come back. You're going to have new designs. Everything's going to be clean, and you're able to print minimum orders. Here's another thing. If you do, well, let's do this. I'm gonna do another one because we're coming up to 12 minutes. I'm gonna shut down and do another one about owning your own screen printing machine and everything else like that. It's not that expensive. Not that expensive. Okay, I'll be back.